Welcome back to another episode of What Even Is D&D. Now today's episode is DMing. So, you've decided you want to try DMing, but you're not sure if you know enough to DM. Now, that was my problem. I felt like I didn't know the rules inside and out enough to actually get started. So that put me off of actually trying to DM for the longest time, let me tell you. But it turns out you don't need to know the rules that much. What you do need to do is stick to what you decide on. So the great thing about D&D is it's flexible. You can make the rules what you want them to be. Your way of playing, your way of sculpting the world isn't going to be for everyone. Finding the right group to fit you can potentially be difficult. I lucked out with my first group, but that doesn't mean you will. It's a give and take. Like any relationship, you've got to find a good balance, and you don't always have to be prepared. Because no matter how much you prepare, you will end up in situations where the party completely goes off rail and you won't have any of your preparations to back you up. The best advice for that I can give you, have plenty of encounters prepared so that you can just switch things up. Now, plenty doesn't necessarily mean you need to have like 50 encounters prepared. No. Just 5 for their level that's not what you had planned for the day, just in case. So they went through the woods, maybe have semi-related. If your party is in town, maybe have something that could happen in town. Maybe have something that could happen in the forest or the mountains or whatever's nearby. And you don't always have to have encounters ready either. You can have some roleplay opportunities. The great thing about D&D is it's a good balance between roleplay and combat. So you just gotta find that balance. You won't necessarily be successful right off the bat. A good way to start out is to have at least one player who knows what they're doing so that you can ask them or refer to them for rules. Like, hey, do you remember what the rules on this are? Don't be afraid to make some mistakes for your first campaign. It's fine. I made plenty. I'm still on my first campaign. So I'm by no means an expert. I'm trying to give you my point of view so that you can have the confidence and a little bit of knowledge to get you into it. It's a lot scarier than it seems. And hearing all the Forever DM stuff, I'm having so much more fun as a DM than I thought I would. It's amazing because I get to play so many roles. Didn't get to do that as a player. I was stuck in the one role, but I can be everybody except for, the group. And it's fun to see how the group will like react to certain things. Making up some NPCs ahead of time could be useful. Just some basics about them, Bob the Baker, and a few things that he likes, likes, dislikes, what he does in his spare time, just a few minor details, and the rest you can make up along the way. How old he is might also be useful. If you're going to do voices, might also be a good idea to have a few prepared. I've forgotten so many voices that I've done. The character's voice has changed, except for a few very specific ones, like Jimmy, the magic shop owner. Yeah, but it's not as hard as it seems. A little bit of prep goes a long way, and flexibility. Your improv skills help out a lot. So if things do go off rails, that's what that's for. Going back to the rules, don't be afraid to make a ruling and tell your players, this is what we'll do for now. We'll look up the rules after we're done. And if we prefer one way, we can go one way, or if the rules say otherwise and we want to stick with the rules, we can go that way. And don't be afraid to bend the rules. There's DM's discretion. The rules are guidelines to help you make this world and have fun in this world. You don't have to stick strictly to them, but they are a nice guideline to help you figure things out and get things moving. Now, one of your most important tools is your session zero. It's a time to sit down with your players, talk about what they want out of the campaign, what they don't want in the campaign. And you can discuss those things that you want and don't want with them as well. This helps, especially if anybody has any kind of triggers or anything. You can avoid those. A lot easier if you know about them. Also, let your players know that they can talk to you separately if they aren't comfortable coming forward in a group, and you won't, single them out. It's really helpful when a DM's understanding. Now, there are times where you'll have a player that just doesn't fit right with your group, and I have yet to have that happen to me, at least. But do not be afraid to kick somebody out of the group if they are making the group not work. Better to lose one person than the whole group. And that's not to say you can't give somebody a chance. Teach them a lesson in game. If your party is murder hobos and you don't like that, well, start showing them the error of their ways. Maybe leave a note from somebody's daughter to them on the body. So when they go loot hungry, you can read off the note to them. Or if you're playing in person, you can hand them the note. You find this on his person. Bringing a touch of realism to the game can really help rein that in a little bit sometimes. Not always. Now, you'll run into problems with balancing encounters. The trouble with that is it's not going to work. It's hard to figure out a perfect balance because there's too many factors in the game to really let you address that issue. It's great that the game gives you like challenge ratings and stuff to try to zero in on what your party can handle, but the factors don't just include challenge ratings and levels. It also includes magic items that the party has, abilities per different classes, different spells. Some things are weak to certain things, some things are strong to certain things, resistance and vulnerability. Again, you don't need to know the rules inside and out, but it is helpful to have a basic grasp of the rules and just kind of throw yourself in, especially as long as you have somebody who knows like the game. Refer to them, have them help you out, but you're not going to come up with a perfect balance right away, if ever. Sometimes you're going to almost kill the party. Sometimes they are going to blow through the encounter you had. Good to have a backup. If you find yourself new and running into these things, a few things you can do. You don't have to necessarily tell the party what you rolled. You're the DM. That's why there's a DM screen. Especially for lower levels, a lot of the time what I will do, or what I have done with my first campaign, is I'll fudge the rolls a couple times to try to keep them alive. And if not the attack roll, I'll fudge the damage roll. Try to make it a challenge without killing them. I pull back, or I have been pulling back, the further into the campaign I've gotten. Now I'm not really pulling my punches so much, but it is useful to remember you are the DM. If you want to go full on, all right, well, it killed you, then players has to roll up a new a new character. But that happens. If you want to be nice and hold back at the beginning, or hold back more often than not, it's up to you. Every DM has a different style, and don't be afraid to try to figure yours out. It's okay to change your mind on rulings. Just try not to do it so often. If you like a rule when you start out and later on you decide you don't like it, let the players know, hey, we're changing up this ruling. Sometimes you don't even have to let them know. They might forget about what you've ruled on something, and that's that. But it's a lot scarier than it seems. You don't have to be an expert on the rules. You don't need to have read the books cover to cover. It helps if you do, but it's not necessary. You don't have to run the adventures that are in the books. You can make up your own. There are a lot of resources, such as maps, virtual tabletops, or tokens, depending on if you're playing online or in person. The important thing is a lot of communication with the players, and just to have fun with it. Because if you're not having fun, what's the point, right? But I think that's a good stopping point. If you have any questions, feel free to put them down in the comments. I would be more than happy to answer them to the best of my ability. If you liked, please like. If you want to see more, hit that subscribe button. And if you haven't watched anything prior to this, I have a whole playlist of What Even Is D&D. Popping up on the screen somewhere should be the playlist, the recommended video, and subscribe to the channel button. I hope this has been helpful. I will be doing more. Look forward to the next episode, and I'll see you guys next time.